Well, good rainy afternoon. You won't hear the birds chirping much, I'm afraid, today, but we've had a lot of rain, and I'm not going to complain. God knows best. Um, we're going to jump right in this afternoon. I probably won't be coming to you for the next few days. Um, Going into a season of prayer and going to meet with God on some things. And so we're just going to take some time away to go on the mountain, as it were, and let Father deal with me. I need some correction, I'm sure, and it's always fun on the other side of the correction. But tonight's installment of On the Porch with Pastor is called Patches. Spencer was a year old when Joan and I took him for his first haircut. We wanted to take him to Linda, our beautician friend, but she won't work on toddlers. Had we been smart, we'd have asked why. Instead, we took him to a barber shop around the corner. The proprietor, Ed, didn't ask our preferred style, just got out the clippers, went to work, and $9 later we were calling our son Patches. On the drive home, I did a little math. $9 a month for 18 years equals nearly $2,000. $2,000 just for the privilege of calling our son Patches. At this point, a reasonable man would have gone back to his beautician friend and asked, "Now why is it you don't cut children's hair?" Instead, with confidence brimming over, I said to Joan, "I've been to college. I can cut my son's hair." I later learned that college has nothing to do with cutting hair. Indeed, a few more years of education might have caused me to reconsider the task I was about to undertake. Joan, Patches, and I were at the department store the following weekend and came across a haircutting kit on sale. As a student of theology, I perceived this to be a sign from God. Joan had her doubts and put forth a vigorous argument. A haircut was Samson's ruination, she warned me. Samson was a free love hippie, I said. Besides, the Apostle Paul said that men with long hair will burn in Hades. He didn't really say that, but I knew she wouldn't know that. During the following weeks, I observed my son closely for evidence of hair growth. The evening before my debut as hair designer, I sharpened and oiled the clippers, then retired early to gain sufficient rest. What happened the next day was Father Knows Best meets Apocalypse Now. Because Joan had forbidden me to strap Spencer in his chair, I could hardly be blamed for the catastrophe that followed. Actually, things were going fine until I turned on the clippers. Then Spencer jumped, and the clippers took on a mind of their own. By the time I turned them off, his head had been clear-cut. The good news in all of this was discovering that a baseball cap is even cheaper than a haircutting kit. Oh, the thing I most admire about my wife, other than her movie star looks and Mother Teresa saintliness, can you tell she's still mad at me, is her uncanny knack of knowing what she's good at and what she isn't. All too often, I end up spinning my wheels in fields I should have steered clear of in the first place. The Apostle Paul knew this. He not only talked about hair, he also mentioned something about valuing your gifts and working from your strengths, which I suspect was what my wife was trying to tell me when she hid my clippers. As I read this story, I'm reminded of some of the, let's just call them mistakes in judgment that I've had in the past, and I'm sure all of us have had, where if we had taken our advice from our wives and steered clear of those particular fields, we may not have had the issues that we ended up having. So there's something to be said, I guess, for focusing on that which you know you do well and that you're called to do. In fact, I think as I look out at society today, I think maybe one of the biggest issues we see that we could look to as a cause for how we ended up where we are. I think too many people get into the professions they get into because of reasons other than a sense of calling. Friends, I think when you have a sense of calling to whatever your endeavor, it doesn't matter if it's a call to political office or if it's a call to be a garbage worker. If you sense a calling to that, if you just feel drawn to that, I think you'll be fruitful there. When people move outside of their calling, and usually it's, let's face it, usually it's for money. People are going to college because they don't want to get, it's not that they want to be learners, it's not that they want to improve their ability to think or their overall ability to relate to their fellow man. It's that they go to college because they think going to college will increase their earning potential. Friends, if you're in your calling because of any other reason, or if you're in your position or profession for any other reason than a sense of calling, it might say a lot about why you're dissatisfied in that endeavor. I believe a wise man once said, "Do what you love and you'll never work a day in your life." I'm not sure I would totally agree with that sentiment, but I would amend it somewhat and say if you do what you're called to do, you'll always be fulfilled and be a lot less room for complaining. And as I look out at the world today, I see a lot of complaints, hear a lot of complaints. Sad part is that too often I hear them from my own lips. But if I look at it closely enough, I come to the same conclusion as our esteemed author. I'm complaining because I've let myself get sidetracked into an endeavor that's not my calling. So I find that I'm consistently playing a game of hot potato these days. Lord, is this what you've called me to? And as soon as I sense that it is not, drop it like a hot potato and move into and back into what you know God's called you to. If you don't know what God's called you to, then that's your challenge today, friend, and the rest of the week, month, ever how long it takes. Seek the Lord. Ask Him what He would have you do, and then have the courage to make the adjustments in your life to walk in His calling. He's coming soon, so keep your eyes to the skies.